If this is the last clip that you see of me, then you know why. That one is a BookTok favorite. I've heard so many great things about this book. I should have DNF'd this book, but I didn't. And I really regret that right now. What is this jar doing to me? Today we're doing another episode of Read It or Unhaul It. I really enjoyed filming the first one and you guys seem to like it as well. So today we're back for episode 2 of Read It or Unhaul It. This is gonna go the same as the first video. I have my TBR jar with all the unread books on my shelf. I will pick some of them randomly and read them in this video. And if I don't like them or I can't finish them, then I will unhaul these books. Now, as you can probably see, the TBR jar has gotten quite the upgrade. I got some comments on the last video suggesting that I separate them by genre. I think people commented because I said something like I wasn't really in the mood for a certain genre. So people suggested that I color code them so I can pick the genre that I'm in the mood for or avoid the genre that I'm not in the mood for, which is such a brilliant idea. I think it works out fine. It also looks a lot nicer than all just the white papers. As you can see, there is primarily red in this jar. So I will give you 3 seconds to guess what genre that is. Because of course it's classics. I have so many classics on my shelf. I love that genre, but apparently I have also the most unread books from that genre, so I really want to fix that. So red is classics, then pink is fantasy books, then light blue, which is this color, is non-fiction. And then lastly we have blue, it's a darker blue, which is basically all of the other genres. So contemporary, romance, or historical fiction, maybe even some mystery. I didn't want to separate all of those genres, so they just went with dark blue. And then as you can see, we also have some rogue yellow ones in there, which are basically challenges. So it will take another step for me to pick a book. As you can see, this jar is completely filled. Like, I can't even mix them because it's so full. So I definitely have a lot of unread books on my shelves. I'm gonna pick multiple books in this video. I think I did 3 in my last. It really depends on how long the books are, how many I'm going to read in this video. Okay, let's pick the first one. Should I pick a genre or just go random? I feel like I should go random for the first one. So we're just gonna pick any of them. Let's pick our first book. Okay, here we go for the first one. Like, I can't even mix them. I guess I have to mix them with my hands. Okay, let's pick this one. Ooh, it's a pink one. That means fantasy. Okay, we're gonna be reading a fantasy book first, and it is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That one is a BookTok favorite. I've heard so many great things about this book. My friend loves it. I can't wait to see what the hype is all about. So where is it actually? Okay, I found the book. Here it is, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I found this hardcover a couple months ago at this book fair. So it was secondhand. I think they sold it for like €2 to me. I think I will understand the art once I've read the book. I don't know much about this book. I think it's about a woman who, like, people don't remember her or something. Actually, let's just read the synopsis. France 1714. A desperate woman makes a desperate deal in the dark. A bargain to live forever but be remembered by none. Okay, so it's about a deal with the devil. I think it's a romance as well. There's actually a bookmark still in there. It's on page 10. So the last person reading this didn't get that far. I hope that doesn't mean anything for me. I hope I can finish it. I don't have to unhaul it. But that's not really a good sign. Or they just threw the bookmark in there. It's actually quite a cute bookmark, so I might use that one. So the first book is going to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This will, I think, be my first V.E. Schwab, so I'm really excited to finally read some of her books. So let's just get started. Is there going to be a book reference in every chapter? Because I like a book reference, but if it's in every chapter and for no reason to the story, it seems a little excessive. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Right now, I'm 20 pages in. I'm liking it. There are a lot of descriptions and I'm kind of wondering whether they will be relevant or just if she's trying to make us like the characters too much. I don't know. I'm still a little hesitant, but I think the story is intriguing. The darkness is a little bit too edgy right now. This whole book feels very young adult. I have to search if it is young adult, but it really feels YA to me. But I'm really liking the story so far. I'm liking Addie's kind of mystery that's going on. So let's just continue and I'll update you when I've read more. Okay, I'm about 200 pages in and I have a lot to say. I think I'm first going to do a kind of synopsis of the book without any spoilers. So if you haven't read it yet and you don't want any spoilers, then you can still know what the book is about. And then I'm going to delve into the details, go into spoilers, and I'll put a timestamp up on the screen to where you can skip if you don't want to hear the spoilers. So this story is about Adeline. She is born in France in I think 1714 and she doesn't want to get married, but her family wants her to get married, so they arrange a marriage. And then on the night of her marriage she runs away and she prays to the gods to not let her get married. And then this dark kind of evil god listens and he fulfills her wish by making her immortal but also to never be remembered. Basically, when she talks to people, a couple seconds later, people will forget her. Everything she does will be erased a couple seconds after. That's why it's called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. All of that is here in the synopsis, so I'm not spoiling anything. So I'll now move on to what I think about this book and at what point I currently am with the reading. So if you don't want to hear about that, skip to this time and you will not get any spoilers. If you do want to hear about that, then nice to have you here. Let's delve into this book. I think the premise is very promising. I think it's such a fun premise about a girl who gets to live forever. She's kind of a god because she's immortal and she can do anything without consequences because people won't remember her after. What if this girl would become a god and live among humans? That's kind of in my head what the premise was like, and I think that's very interesting. I think that's very fun. Okay, so what we know about Addie is that she was born in 1700 and she is just really interested in the world. She wants to learn so much. So when she gets cursed, her initial thought in the first year of living with this curse is that she wants to explore so much. She wants to learn so much. And I love that for her. So now we follow Addie in 2014 and she has been living for 300 years with this curse. And the main thing about her life is that she's basically just sulking about one night stands who don't remember her, which I think is such a shame. I feel like there were so many interesting things she could have been doing with her life. And first of all, I feel like that would have been like she would have been used to that after 300 years. And secondly, it just feels very hard to believe that she has lived for 300 years. We get a mix of chapters from 1700 and then 2014, and it feels like Addie has just not changed at all. She really feels like the same person, and I feel like that would be impossible if she had lived for 300 years. I mean, there were wars, revolutions, slavery, industrialization, technology. I mean, the world is just completely different in those 300 years. So much has changed and it feels like she hasn't been affected by any of that. We make fun of our older generation for not being able to keep up with technology, and they're just like 80 years old. And Addie is 300 years old. I just think she would have changed so much and she would have been a completely different person if she had been through all of that, through all the world wars. That feels underexplored in my opinion. And also the idea that she has been living for 300 years and the only countries that she's visited have been France, England, and America. Like, she hasn't even been to Asia or Africa, even though her whole point in the 1700s is that she doesn't want to give up because she wants to explore the world. But instead, 300 years later, she's sulking around New York City and being upset that some guy doesn't remember her. I feel like the story just could have been way more interesting in my opinion. Basically, there's just a really interesting premise of her living for 300 years, but it's kind of ignored and we just talk about the guys she's dating. I feel like there's so many more interesting things to talk about, especially because she's 300 years old. The guy that she's dating is like, what, 20? I just feel like it doesn't make a lot of sense. In those 300 years, she would have realized that this is as close as she's gonna get to being a god. I mean, she's immortal. She can do whatever she wants without any consequences. Like, she's almost a god. And while I was reading this, I was thinking about the Odyssey, because Odysseus gets the choice of becoming a god or not, and he refuses. And it's a really interesting reasoning for why he refuses to become a god. And I feel like that is kind of similar to Addie's story. If you live forever, nothing is really important and nothing is really exciting, because you know you have forever to explore things. Like, things just don't really matter when there's not a time limit to your life. And I was thinking like, oh, Addie should just read the Odyssey and she would feel so understood. And actually a couple chapters later she reads the Odyssey, and I just find that so ironic. I just can't believe that she has immortality and then is still sulking about 20-year-old guys. It's a little upsetting to me. It's a little disappointing, and I really do not see, right now at this point in the book, I really do not see where all the hype comes from. Also, one of the interesting aspects of this book is the curse, and I was really interested in how it works and kind of what the rules are, but it seems very vague to me, because it's basically like she cannot leave a mark. So she cannot write her name, say her name, people will forget her. She cannot break things, they will just be repaired, because otherwise she has proved her existence, something like that. But then at other points it's kind of vague, because she can steal things if she's not seen. But if I were to walk in my room and something would be missing, that would be still evidence of a person being there. Also, she can like get her picture taken, but just if her face is blurred. But I feel like you would be identifiable by just your body alone. The rules of the curse don't feel very clear to me. Also, the demon or the darkness, he's not been much of a character in the book yet, but I'm really scared that he's gonna become a love interest, because they've been kind of hinting at it. When she got cursed, he was kind of a immaterial being. He was, or they, she, whatever, were just described as darkness, which I thought was really interesting. But then when he curses her, he all of a sudden materializes into a man and he kisses her. I found that very, very weird and unnecessary. And I'm really afraid that he's gonna become a love interest in this book, which I would just not understand why. He's like a god or something, and she's just a girl. This is such a weird premise for a romance as well, because every guy she dates in like the present time, they're such a skewed relationship, because she's 300 years old, she's seen so much, and he's probably like 20. The relationship would be so weird, and there would be no relationship at all because he can't remember her. If there's gonna be a relationship between Addie and like the demon, the darkness, that would be skewed as well, because he's like a god and she is a girl. I don't know, it just feels, every relationship in this book would be weird and skewed and uneven and just not appropriate. So I feel like this premise is a really weird one for a romance. But basically all this book has been talking about is romance, and how Addie cannot find someone to love because nobody remembers her. Yeah, I don't want to completely burn this book to the ground, because it's not that bad. There's also this weird thing where in the beginning of the book the narrator says that Addie is never going to see the city again because she's not allowed to come with her father this time. But then like 60 pages later she's in the city, and she even says how much it reminds her of when she used to go with her father. And like, didn't you just say that she was never going to see the city again? It just doesn't add up. I know I'm ranting, but I have a lot to say about this book. Let's talk about one last thing, which is the title. It says The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and invisible is of course meant as in that Addie cannot leave a mark, so she cannot say her name, write her name, she cannot be remembered. So in that way she's kind of invisible in life, because no one remembers her. There are billions of people on this planet, and we only remember a very select few. Only if you did something extraordinarily good or extraordinarily bad, that's when you get remembered. Like, I don't even remember my great-great-great-great-grandmother because I never met her. So it's very normal to not be remembered. I feel like it's very normal to be forgotten. I feel like it would be an impossible task to remember everyone that has lived. It's just too many people. Like, you don't remember people from 200 years ago or 2,000 years ago because you've never met them. They've been gone for so long. And I feel like Addie would have realized that after living for 300 years. I feel like she would have realized that nobody remembers her parents from 300 years ago, or she doesn't even remember all the people that she has met over the years. So it's a very normal thing to be forgotten. And I don't want to sound too depressing, but that's just the truth, and it's normal and it's okay. Apparently after 300 years, Addie still hasn't learned that. So the title is actually not that interesting. This book does remind me of a movie, and I couldn't remember the name at first, but it's called The Age of Adeline. And that movie is basically about, I think it stars Blake Lively, and it's about a woman who cannot age as well. And the protagonist of this book is also called Adeline. So that was kind of strange to me, how they were so similar, and the protagonist's name is even the same. Like, that it feels like it could not be a coincidence. I asked you guys on Instagram what you thought about that similarity, and a lot of you guys responded that you saw the similarity as well and you found it a bit weird as well. So I'm not sure what that's about. There's no credit given to the movie or the story, so yeah, that's a little bit strange to me. The beginning of the book also really reminds me of Beauty and the Beast, because Addie is kind of like Belle, in which she doesn't want to get married. She's a dreamer. She wants to leave this town. She wants more for her life instead of being just a wife. So that really reminds me of Beauty and the Beast. Also, in every chapter, there's a book referenced. It starts in chapter 1 with Rilke being mentioned, which I was really excited about because I love Rilke as a writer. So I was really excited that one of the characters was reading Rilke. But basically, it could have said any author or any book because it has no significance at all. At least up until the 200-page mark, it has no significance at all, which I think is kind of a shame. It feels like she just name drops these books and these authors, and there's not really any reasoning. Okay, I think my rant is done. Let's see, did I have anything else to say? I wrote some things down because I had so many thoughts. So yeah, basically I was just really interested in what it would be like to live for 300 years. And I think the only thing that has been said about that is things come and go. So that's been a little bit of a disappointment. Yeah, I find it really ironic that she read the Odyssey. That's how I'm currently feeling about this book. I don't know if I want to keep going. It's kind of the rules, right, of the read it or unhaul it, that if you really don't like it, you have to unhaul it. I do want to give it a fair shot. Like, maybe it will redeem itself. I mean, there is gotta be a reason that people give it 5 stars. So I do want to read a bit more of this book, but I'm kind of fed up with it right now. So I kind of want to pick another book to get started with. But I definitely will continue this, so don't worry, I won't stop at the 200-page mark. So I'm going to be picking another book right now. I will continue reading this, and I will update you guys on this one when I've read until I can't read anymore, or until I finished it, basically. So let's pick another book for the read it or unhaul it. Okay, I have my jar right here. Let's pick another one. Should we pick a yellow one? I think that would be fun. Okay, which yellow one should we pick? This one maybe? Okay, let's pick this yellow one and see what we have to do. It says random wheel decides genre. So I'm gonna make a random wheel of all the genres that I have in here, and then I have to pick a color which the random wheel decides. So, okay, I have my random wheel right here. I have classics, fantasy, contemporary, or non-fiction. So let's click the spin. It's basically 25%. Ooh, we got classics. So I guess I'll be reading a classics next. Okay, so I guess we're gonna be reading a classics book next, which was the color red. So we're gonna be picking a red, what do you call it? Paper we're gonna be picking a red paper from this jar. There are a lot of red papers, so there's a lot of red ones to choose from. Okay, this one is sticking to my finger, so let's pick this one. Let's see what it is. I'll show you guys first, why not? Oh no! No! Ow! I cannot believe this. What is this jar doing to me? It's making me read Nietzsche. Oh my god, okay. So, the only Nietzsche book that I have is this one, which I borrowed from my brother. You can see that in the video where I reorganized his shelves. This is Twilight of the Idols. This is 3 of Nietzsche's works from his last lucid months. These show him at his most stimulating and controversial. So, sounds great. It literally says, reader beware. It literally says, reader beware. If this is gonna get me into the depressive episode, I am suing. I mean, let's just get started, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna have to return it to my brother anyway, so it's gonna be gone from my shelves whether I like it or not. If this is the last clip that you see of me, then you know why. Why am I being so dramatic? Okay, let's just get started. Okay, I'm now about 400 pages in, and I don't know what happened, but it's just become a regular romance at this point. Most of the poetic writing and the fantasy aspects have just gone somewhere. I don't know where, and I don't know if I can finish it, guys. It's really just a romance at this point, and there's no logic behind anything. I'm just not really interested. I'm not really in the mood for a romance either, and this one just doesn't make a lot of sense. So with this fantasy curse, I was just expecting a lot more, and I'm just a bit disappointed. I know I've been really harsh in the beginning, and I don't want to be too harsh with this book. It looks like I'm naked, but I'm not. I just really want to start another book, but I don't know if I should DNF this or keep going. I mean, I really do want to give it a fair chance by finishing it, but I've just not been enjoying it so much, so I don't know if I should keep reading it. It's quite a long book. I think it's about 540 pages, and I'm now almost 400 pages in, so I have like 150 pages left, so it's not so much. So I guess we'll just see if I can finish this tonight, and then we can pick another book. Hi, I have finished reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I'm really happy that I did, because now I can give you my final thoughts on this book and we can move on. I think I already said a lot about this book earlier in this video, and I think I was really harsh. I haven't rewatched it yet, but I remember being quite upset with it. So I'm really sorry. I really don't mean to be harsh about the book. That of course doesn't mean that you cannot like the book. So please take my opinion with a grain of salt. It's okay to have your own opinion. I see that so many people love this book, and that's amazing. I'm really happy for them. But I want to give my honest opinion as well, and I really did not like this book. I thought the story was not well thought out. I thought the characters were very inconsistent. There's one point in the book, Addie and Henry meet, and Henry doesn't know about Addie's curse yet. And Henry says, "I would like to see you again." To which Addie responds, "I would also like you to see me again." Something like that. And I couldn't. Who says that? I guess that's kind of the whole vibe for the book. It's not serious at all. All the topics that I wanted this book to discuss were just not there. And the book just focused on the romance. And unfortunately, yes, the darkness is a romantic interest in this book, which just doesn't make sense at all, because he has lived, or it's not even a physical being in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's a material man. It has lived for an eternity, and it will live for an eternity. So meeting this random girl should be not memorable at all, but the darkness falls in love with her, of course. And then I thought it was because he wanted her soul, because that was his motivation in the first place. So for the whole book, the darkness is kind of asking Addie to give up so he can take her soul. But then at the end, she kind of makes a trade where the darkness will get her soul once he's sick of her. And I was just like, isn't that the whole point? He wanted to take her soul, and now he can at any moment, and he doesn't. I don't know. The character of the darkness was just really weird. So the darkness changes apparently a lot in 300 years, but then Addie changes basically nothing in 300 years. I mean, she feels like very much the same character. Now, I did talk about the wars and everything that Addie must have been through, and the book actually discusses that. It shows that Addie has been through some wars and has seen some things, which I thought was really nice that they discussed that. But the main focus of this book was just the romance. And the main problem with Addie is just, she's so eager to learn, and I love that about her. She's so interested in the world, and that's why she wants to keep living. I think that's a great motivation. But then after 300 years, she's only been to France, England, and America. And she's learned a couple of languages, but all of them are in Europe. So for this book, just whole of Asia and whole of Africa, Australia, they just all don't exist. It's very much focused around Europe and America, which was such a shame, because yeah, it basically just ignores the whole history that happened there. And I understand that it's a very big history to put into this book, and you can never include all of it. I understand that, but then I feel like the premise is just a little bit too ambitious for this book, and it was kind of bound to disappoint in that sense. So I think I will leave it at that. Those are my thoughts on The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think I'm gonna have to give it a 2-star, which means that it's gonna be Unhauled, which I'm really sad about, because I've seen so many people give this a 5-star, so I was really hoping that I was gonna love it too. This is gonna go in the Unhaul pile. Then I also finished reading Twilight of the Idols. What can I say about this one? Nietzsche has a very interesting philosophy. He very much goes against the grain, and he actually says that in his books, that he's really trying to say what hasn't been said yet. So he's very much trying to go against what other people have been saying, which is very interesting to read, but some of his philosophies you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. Some of them are a little harsh. I think some of them are just a little extreme. So I'm not going to rate this book. I think it was interesting to read, but it's also a little bit like, please, someone take his pen away. It was an interesting read. I'm happy that I read it, but it's going back to my brother now, and I'm really happy to be picking another book. Okay, let's pick our next read. I'm really excited for a new book. Hopefully something that will stay on my shelves this time. I'm going in blind. I'm not going to look at the color even. Let's do this one. It's blue, so that means it's contemporary romance or historical fiction or mystery. Let's see. It's The Virgin Suicides. Is this gonna make me sad? Why are all the books I'm picking so sad? Okay, here we have The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. So it's about 5 sisters, and I think they all unalive themselves. I'm not sure if I can say that on YouTube. I'm a bit scared. I've actually been wanting to read this book for quite some time, so I'm excited that we're going to get to it now, but I'm also really scared because it sounds like a sad read. And after reading Nietzsche and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I didn't want a sad read, but here we are. All the obsessions of being a teenager somehow rendered into book form. That sounds sad. That sounds so sad. Can I pick another one? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick another one, and I am going to read The Virgin Suicides, but I am going to pick one that is not so sad because I don't want to get myself in a reading slump. I of course don't know which I'm going to pick, but next time I should just color the jar by happy books and sad books so I can know which mood to pick. Let's pick this one. Oh, it's pink. What does that mean? It's a fantasy book. Okay, fantasy is mostly happy, I hope. So let's pick this one. I'll show you guys first. Raveleijn. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I'm definitely gonna enjoy this one. Okay, wait a minute. I've got it right here. I got this book in my little free library video, and it's very nostalgic to me. It's basically the story of 5 children who go to a magic world and they have to save the world. This is a Dutch children's story. I think it also has a TV adaptation, and it's been written for this theme park in the Netherlands. The story is just very nostalgic to me. It also has beautiful illustrations, so I can't wait to read this. This is going to make me so happy. I think these are going to be the next 2 books I'll be reading: The Virgin Suicides and Raveleijn. Hi, I'm back. I haven't filmed in a couple of days because I had a really bad migraine, and I've just been in bed for the last days. The pain just made me really nauseous, so I couldn't really read anything. So I haven't read much. At first I just wanted to continue this video like nothing was wrong because I want this video to be fun and entertaining. But then I realized I also want to be real, and I don't want to add to the unrealistic expectations of social media. And I also just want to show this part of my life with you guys, that not everything is fun and games. So I just want to say, if you also have migraines or you have chronic illness, then I see you and I really feel for you, and I really wish you all the best. And I also hope that my video can give you a bit of entertainment or distraction. So with that said, let's talk about the books I was reading. Before the pain started, I did manage to finish this book, which was very fun, very nostalgic for me. It was very cute. It had beautiful illustrations. I think I showed you. I don't have much to say about this book. Well, I guess if you're not from the Netherlands, you probably have never heard of this book. So I will introduce it to you. This book was written for a theme park here in the Netherlands. If you're ever in the Netherlands, visit the Efteling. It's so much fun. It's such a beautiful theme park. And they have a show about this book. So this is basically the backstory of that show. To give you a quick summary, it's very similar story to Narnia, where there's a group of kids and they have to go through a portal to a different world. And in that fantasy world, they have to save these people. I think those are the similarities to Narnia. Other than that, this is kind of medieval setting, and it's a more basic story. It's less focused on God and religion than Narnia is. I think it's most enjoyable if you know the theme park and the show behind it. But yeah, this was a fun read for me. Don't have much to add. I had also been reading this book. I am now 160 pages in, and this is not at all what I was expecting. I don't have the energy right now to go into a full rant, so I will keep it short and sweet. I expected this book to be about 5 girls who end their lives and kind of what led them to do that at such a young age. But unfortunately, this book has been quite different. It is about these 5 girls who end their lives, but it's told from the perspective of a group of boys. And these boys are now men, and they just cannot get over these 5 sisters, even though they've been dead for quite a long time. They're basically very much obsessed with these girls. They're kind of piecing together everything they knew of them at the time, because they didn't really know the girls personally. And that's one of my biggest issues with the book, is that it's trying to tell a story about women's struggles, women's health, mental health, taboos, which I think is a really good thing. I would love to read more books about that. I would love to see more representation of women's mental health, but it's not from the perspective of these women. To have the agency taken away from these women by having the boys tell the story was just really not a good choice, in my opinion, especially because these boys very much romanticize these women's lives. They very much romanticize their deaths. They very much sexualize, fetishize these women. This book is very much about all these boys crushing on these women instead of the issues that these women went through and why they decided to end their lives. So it's kind of romanticizing suicide. It's fetishizing these girls, very much sexualizing them. And I just really don't like it. I just don't enjoy it. There is quite some commentary in this book, which makes me believe that the author was trying to make a point about women's health being misunderstood, but it just really misses the mark when you've got these boys sexualizing these girls, fetishizing everything, romanticizing them not getting the help that they deserve. And I just really don't like that. We're 160 pages in and only one of the girls has died yet. And the guys believe it's because she was in love with the guy who didn't like her back. So they take her diary and find out she has not been thinking about this guy at all. I definitely think this is a way of the author commenting on stereotypes that guys might have about girls. But then they find her diary and they don't really find a specific reason for why she died. They were just like, oh, she was weird, that's why she died. And I find it such, I'm not really enjoying it. I kind of want to see if it redeems itself, but I'm really doubting that, because the last chapter has just been about this girl's naked body and how the guys, even when they're adult, cannot stop thinking about that. So it's not been good, and I'm just heavily disappointed, because I thought this book was going to be a commentary on how women's struggles are misunderstood, misrepresented, and it's not. It's just not. I feel like the books in this video have not been that good, and I definitely want to end on a good one. I feel like we haven't had a really good book in this video because all of the books have been either sad or I just didn't really enjoy them, and I just feel the reading slump coming. So I really want a good book to end this video with. We've read 4, so I feel like 5 is a really good number to kind of round this video off with. So let's grab the jar one last time this video and find a really good book to end this video with. I'm really hoping for a good book. Reading good books makes me so happy, and I just really haven't had that feeling this video. So I want to pick a good book. Of course, I don't really have control over that. So let's grab one for the last time and see what it's going to be like. Let's pick one from the bottom, because why not? Okay, let's pick this one. Oh, it's a red one again, so that means it's another classic. I feel like we've had a really good variety of books in this video, so another classic will be, I think, perfect for the variety. It is it's the Epitaph of a Small Winner. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it also goes by the name The Posthumous Memoirs of Bras Cubas. I'm really excited about this one. It's magical realism. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and it just sounds like the perfect book to end this video with. I've had this book on my shelves for a long time, and I really wanted to read it, but I just never have. So the TBR jar is making dreams come true. I can finally read this book. Let's talk about this cover, because this is one of the weirdest covers I have ever seen. It's from the Hogarth Press, which is a press company I've never heard of, and it really gives me like Water for Chocolate vibes. I don't know, let me grab it. Do you get what I mean? Okay, maybe it's not that similar, but it really gives me these vibes. Maybe because it's also magical realism. So this book is about this guy, Bras Cubas, who writes his own memoir, but after he has died. So he dies and then he starts writing about his life, and it's supposedly very funny, a little dark, a little philosophical, and I'm really excited to read it. It says on the back, if Borges is the writer who made Garcia Marquez possible, then it's no exaggeration to say that Machado is the writer who made Borges possible. And it's funny because a couple months back I read my first Borges, I read the Aleph, and now I can read kind of his inspiration. So this is the biography of Bras Cubas, written from beyond the grave. And it is said that the author faced a lot of illness before writing this book, and it actually made him adopt a new kind of writing and a new kind of humor. So I'm really excited about that. As I said, I've heard nothing but great things. If you're wondering why I have such a weird copy, I just found this secondhand. It even has like a message from someone in the front. It's a very much secondhand and orange copy, but I love collecting weird editions like this. I've never heard of this press. I've never seen this cover before, and I just found this in the secondhand store. It was like €1, so very cheap. Yeah, now I have this strange edition that I've never seen before, so I really like that about secondhand shopping. I say this, I think, in every video. I love secondhand shopping. I love the editions that you can find, and I'm really excited to start this book. It starts with, I expired at 2 o'clock of a Friday afternoon in the month of August. I can't wait to read this book, you guys, so let's just get started. I should have DNF'd this book, but I didn't. And I really regret that right now. I think the final straw for me was this scene where the guys see one of the girls having sex, which, first of all, it just makes this title not true. But they see her having sex and they see her body, and now as adults they're writing about how they cannot stop thinking about her teenage body. This book is just really not about these women or their mental problems or representation at all. This book was just about these guys and whatever way they romanticize these girls and romanticize their problems, sexualize these girls. That was just completely what this book was about, and I would not recommend that you read it. It was really disappointing. It was gross a lot of the times, very inappropriate, and a lot of the topics that were more interesting were really poorly discussed. I think I have said enough about how I feel about this book, so you would know I am gonna unhaul it. I really did not like it. However, I have also finished this book, and this was such a welcome change because this was a really, really good book. I really enjoyed it. This is basically the story of a guy named Baz, and he tells his story from beyond the grave. So it's a memoir that he writes about himself, about his life, all the happy things he went through, all the bad things. He definitely has his faults and he's not afraid to admit them, but he does so in a very funny and interesting way. He is at the same time very funny, witty, clever, but also very philosophical and just interesting person. I don't know if it's a spoiler. I don't want to spoil it. I definitely think you should read this book for yourself. But the title is kind of a bleak conclusion looking back. But I really like books that make you think and have kind of a philosophical meaning behind them. So I really enjoyed this book. You really fly through this book. Some of the chapters are shorter than a page, so it was really easy to read and I just couldn't put it down. I just wanted to find out what was happening with his life, and it really connects the chapters to each other very well that you want to keep reading. I really think this book is very funny and clever, but there's also a little bit of a sadness to this book because this guy is writing from the grave, so he is dead. And he's kind of reflecting on all the things that he did in life, but also all the things that he didn't get to do. So sometimes this book can get a little melancholic. I would categorize this book as kind of more funny and philosophical, but it does have its sad parts because it is about a guy who has died and he's kind of reflecting on his life, and his life didn't always go as planned and he didn't always get to do the things he wanted to do. So I think those are the books that I love the most, the books that are kind of philosophical but also funny, and books that don't take writing or life too seriously. I really enjoyed those books and this is definitely one of them. So I really enjoyed this. I am definitely not going to unhaul it. So that brings us to the end of this Read It or Unhaul It. These are the 5 books that I read in this video. We started with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I unfortunately didn't like, so I'm going to unhaul. Then we read Nietzsche, and it's going to go off my bookshelves because I'm going to bring it back to my brother. Then we read Raveleijn, which I think I'm going to keep. It was really fun. I might donate it to another little free library because I would want other people to enjoy this as well. But I did really enjoy it. Then we read The Virgin Suicides, which I really didn't enjoy, and I think I'm gonna unhaul it. And then lastly we read The Epitaph of a Small Winner, or The Posthumous Memoirs of Baz, which I really enjoyed. I am definitely gonna keep this copy. So kind of have a mixed bag this video. I really was expecting to enjoy all of these books, maybe except for Nietzsche. So it's interesting to see that I end up unhauling so many of them. So I'm very happy that we got to read 5 books of my physical TBR today. The TBR jar is already starting to look less intimidating, but we still have a lot of books to go. So let me know if you want to see an episode 3 of Read It or Unhaul It. So I want to thank you so much for watching. I would love to know what you think about these books, and I'll see you in the next video.